If you're a fan of old fighters, you will have dealt with your fair share of nonsense. 50-50s, god buttons, touch of deaths and infinites to name a few, but as time goes on you learn to deal with it and actually embrace the insanity. It's part of what makes these games special and unique. Fighting game players love to call things broken. If you've got no defense in a match, then deeming something broken is the day one option select that will help you avoid any accountability for your level of prowess. That being said, no matter what level you're at, there are going to be some things that will send chills up your spine, but nothing will hit quite as hard as Balloon! This move is infamously broken, and like most things defined as broken, that condemnation comes predominantly from outside the game's community. You watch one match looking like this, it's going to make you feel a certain type of way. That being said, when you actually talk to people who play the game, the first thing you'll hear is the strategy against it rather than writing it off as broken because, well, it's just not. The move is very good though, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. However, what's far more important than the strength of this special is the fact that it's interesting. Often when a move is very good, its application in a match can be quite boring. Sagat's Crouch Fierce in CVS2 is so good, but ultimately it's just a button. Balloon, however, is more expressive than you can even imagine. Before I delve into it, I would like to massively thank Hibachi Final and the Karnov's Revenge Discord for helping with this video. Without their guidance, there is no chance in hell I'm able to give an even vaguely comprehensive overview of this special. If this video inspires you to play the game, then I highly recommend joining the link below and getting involved with this incredible, welcoming community. Let's start with the anatomy of this move. It's a special attack from the game's lead character, Karnov. Done by inputting half circle back, up back, and either light punch or heavy punch, this move puts Karnov in a float state where he can hold back or forward to move before he descends after a fixed amount of time and comes down with an overhead. During this move, Karnov is strike invulnerable, so a very basic application for this attack is to navigate through projectiles. The ability to control him means you are safer than you would be just throwing out a raw jump, as you can space yourself exactly. Well, sort of. The move is also doable in the air, so actually you can use it during a jump to go through a fireball or even bait an anti-air, which gives the character so much flexibility when airborne. This move's strike invulnerability isn't just at the startup, the entire duration of the flying animation is invulnerable too. It's only when the attack comes out at the end where he's actually hittable, which sounds okay, right? You just time your anti-air to come out with this attack. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. You remember I said that you could do Balloon with light and heavy punch? Well, they both have different timings on the attack, meaning in a lot of situations you're having to make a read on that timing to properly anti-air him. They are both set timings you can't cancel during the fly, so it's not impossible, but still often a guess on the defender's part. You might think that this attack doesn't look threatening, but you would be very wrong. Of course it leads to a damaging combo and is safe on block, you wouldn't expect any less in Karnov's Revenge, however there are two big features beyond this. One, you can cross up with it. Get knocked down, go into Balloon, control it left or right, and suddenly you have some really grotesque mix with a fistful of invulnerability thrown in on top. 2, and this is a big one, you can cancel the attack, not the fly, but the move at the end into a jump button. Now a double overhead sounds cool, however it doesn't really end there. You can then cancel this jump button into another balloon and repeat. Obviously this isn't a true block string, but being able to reset your pressure into an invulnerable overhead that forces a read is strong. On top of this, you can of course go into low, which isn't some unreactable mix, but due to the sheer flexibility of Balloon, you have to consider so many moving parts, and that's where his strengths lie. It's hard to view moves in a vacuum. Karnov is a solidly top 4 character, and depending on who you ask, he can be top 1. Even outside of Balloon, he has such powerful tools, and this is really just a cherry on top. This is where the difficulty lies when people outside of a game's community give value judgments on moves and deem them as broken, because actually, more often than not, it's a combination of things that make them powerful. A modern comparison I love to give is Potemkin in Strive. People early on love to joke about how strong Potbuster is, and it's an easy joke to make, I mean look at the damage. Actually though, the throw isn't what's scary, it's the threat of the throw. If you think they're about to Potbuster you and you hold up, but instead they close slash, you can die. If he did do this sort of damage on someone trying to escape the throw, the risk reward would massively change on it. It's comparable. Would Balloon be as scary if Karnov didn't hit like a truck? Absolutely not. Even though a lot of its strengths actually lie within its utility for set play, some people might define this move as a bit of a neutral skip. Being able to just throw out a grip of invulnerability that is controllable at any point in a match is scary to fight against, but it's not as impossible as it's been made out to be. If I'm being honest, it's also a damn sight more enjoyable to deal with than most modern neutral skips like full screen safe on block drills. Balloon is genuinely unique. There is not really an invulnerable move like this where there are so many levels to the mind games and so many creative applications for it. Absolutely, in a world where this game got patched, this or the tools around it would probably get toned down slightly, but the idea of the move is what I love, and that is what I want to show you.
Karnov wins!
Let's get onto the counterplay though, because I really don't want to oversell this. Firstly, you can air throw it. Although you can't really do it on reaction because of how quick the light version comes out, by air throwing it as a guess, you're removing the need to deal with the timing variations and instead focusing on if they're going to use the move at all. The next and probably safest option against it is to simply backdash. It won't net you a punish, but mid-screen for some of the cast, it will get you out of any potential mix-up as the speed of the flow is comparatively slow. Of course, you can also use an invulnerable special. Now, the risk reward when going for this is character specific, but some do get great mix or great damage from them, so you can certainly make the Karnov player very hesitant to use Balloon outside of a setup. There are even more counters on a per character basis found when one delves deeper into this game, and that's really the point. The hive mind of Twitter will often reductively categorize everything in fighting games as broken or balanced, and that's it. But these conclusions are often based on half information that's been handed down to them. I say them, but I am also 100% guilty of this too. The problem being is fighting games are really complex, and viewing an old game with decades of meta and tech in such simplistic terms often paints the wrong picture. This can be genuinely harmful to the communities trying to get new players involved because they miss out on all the exciting nuance. Like I've said, Balloon, balanced or not, is interesting. A genuinely creative idea found in a genre which in the modern era can often feel like it's stagnating. Far safer concepts are being prioritized by big developers for fear of having the general public call their games imbalanced. And call me old, but I think that's a huge shame.